I still check my windows every single night before bed. People think I'm being dramatic, but they weren't the one getting those notes. They didn't see what I saw. This happened during my senior year at Lincoln High in Sacramento, California. And honestly, I still don't feel completely safe even though I moved away for college. But let me start from the beginning, because that's when things got really messed up. So it was late September, right after we came back from a 3-day weekend. I remember because my mom had made me clean out the garage that whole Monday, and I was super tired when I got to school Tuesday morning. I went to my locker like normal, spinning the combination lock while half asleep. That's when I saw it, a tiny yellow sticky note, folded once, taped right at eye level on my locker door. At first I thought maybe it was from my friend Kenna or something. We used to leave each other dumb jokes sometimes, but when I opened it, my hands got kind of shaky. It said, "We know everything." That was it. Just those 3 words in blocky handwriting, blue pen, nothing else. I stood there for a second, looking around the hallway. Everyone was just doing their normal stuff, talking, laughing. Nobody was watching me or acting weird. I folded the note back up and shoved it in my pocket. Probably just someone being stupid, right? High school kids do pranks all the time. Except the next day, there was another note. This one had my schedule written out, every single class, the exact times, my lunch period, even the fact that I had volleyball practice until 5:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It also said what I ordered for lunch the day before, a chicken sandwich and chocolate milk. How the hell did someone know that? I took both notes to the front office. The secretary, Mrs. Palmer, looked at them and kind of shrugged. She said kids do this kind of thing to mess with each other. She told me to let her know if it continued. That was it. No investigation or anything. But it did continue. 2 days later, I got a direct message on Instagram from an account with no profile picture and a username that was just random numbers. The message had a photo attached. When I opened it, I actually felt sick. It was a picture of me, in my bedroom, sitting at my desk, doing homework, taken from outside my window at night. I could see my lamp, my bulletin board with Polaroids pinned to it, even the poster of my favorite band on the wall behind me. The angle was from the backyard, probably near the fence. Whoever took it had been standing there in the dark, watching me through the glass. I tried to reply to the account, but it said the user didn't exist anymore. They deleted it right after sending the message. That's when I finally told my parents. My dad went outside with a flashlight that night and checked the whole backyard. There were some footprints near the fence, but it had rained earlier that week, so they were all muddy and unclear. My mom wanted to call the police right away. The cops came the next afternoon. 2 officers. They took the notes, looked at the Instagram screenshot on my phone, and wrote everything down in a little notebook. But they basically said the same thing as Mrs. Palmer. Without a clear thread or evidence of who did it, there wasn't much they could do. They told us to install better locks and maybe get a security camera. We did get a camera. My dad set it up that weekend, pointing at the backyard. But by then, I was already scared to be in my room at night. I started closing my curtains completely, even though I'd always liked having them open to see the stars. The notes kept coming. One every few days. Each one had details that felt impossible for a stranger to know. Like the exact time I left practice on a random Thursday. The name of the coffee shop where I did homework after school sometimes. Even a private joke I'd told Kenna about our biology teacher. That last one really freaked me out. I asked Kenna if she'd told anyone and she swore she hadn't. She looked genuinely confused and kind of hurt that I'd even asked. But someone knew. Someone was listening to our conversations somehow. Then the school got involved, but not in a helpful way. The principal, Mr. Davison, called me into his office one morning. He said they'd checked the security footage from the hallways near my locker. There was someone standing nearby when the notes appeared, but the person's face was always blurred or turned away from the camera. And then they'd just walk off and disappear into the crowd. It was like they knew exactly where the cameras were. Mr. Davison said it was probably just a prank and that I shouldn't worry too much. That pissed me off. Easy for him to say when nobody was taking pictures of him through his fucking window at night. But here's where it got worse. People at school started acting different around me. whispering when I walked past, looking at me weird in the cafeteria. One girl I barely knew came up to me in the bathroom and said, "I heard about what you did." When I asked what she meant, she just shook her head and walked away. I had no idea what anyone was talking about. It felt like there was some rumor going around, but nobody would tell me what it was. Even some of my friends started being distant, like they knew something I didn't. Kenna finally told me that people were saying I'd leaked someone's private photos online, which was completely insane. I'd never done anything like that. But someone was spreading that story, and people believed it. That's when I figured it out. There was this senior named Rowan Mitchells who worked part-time at the phone repair place in the mall. I'd brought my phone there a few months earlier to fix a cracked screen. He'd asked me to unlock it so he could test it after the repair. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but Rowan would have had access to everything: my photos, my messages, my location history, my schedule from my calendar app, everything. I told my parents, and we went back to the police. They said they'd look into it, but again, without solid proof, it was hard to do anything. Rowan denied everything when they talked to him, said he barely remembered me. The notes stopped after that, but the damage was done. I spent the rest of senior year paranoid. I changed all my passwords, got a new phone, started taking different routes home, installed extra locks on my bedroom window. I graduated in June and moved to Portland for college. My parents sold the house a year later, but even now, 2 years later, I still get this feeling sometimes, like someone's watching me. I'll be walking to class or sitting in my apartment, and I'll just freeze, check the windows, look over my shoulder, because whoever did this, they never got caught. Rowan still lives in Sacramento as far as I know, and sometimes I wonder if he still has my information somewhere. If he's still keeping tabs on me, I don't think I'll ever feel completely safe again. I'm going to tell you about something that happened during my junior year at Roosevelt High in Columbus, Ohio, and I still think about it every single day. It messed me up in ways I didn't expect, like I can't trust people the same way anymore. And the worst part? Nobody really got in trouble for it. The whole thing just disappeared. But I remember everything. So this started in March, right after spring break. We had this substitute teacher come in for our history class. Mr. Pemberton was out because his wife had a baby or something. The sub's name was on the roster as Mr. Davison. He seemed normal enough, kinda quiet, always wearing the same brown jacket, and he smelled like this really strong cologne that made half the class sneeze. He taught for maybe 2 weeks, then one day he just didn't show up. Left his coat hanging on the back of the teacher's chair. Nobody touched it. I mean, why would we? We figured he'd come back for it, but days turned into a week, then 2 weeks. The coat just stayed there. Sometimes kids would joke about it like, "Hey, Mr. Davison's ghost is watching us," or whatever. Our regular teacher, Mr. Pemberton, came back and didn't even mention it. He just moved it to the corner of the room, draped over this old filing cabinet. My friend Lexi thought it was weird. She brought it up at lunch one day. "Why hasn't anyone thrown that thing out?" she said. I shrugged. Didn't really care much about a coat. But then me and my buddies Trent and Marco decided to do this stupid prank. We were going to rearrange all the desks in the history classroom to spell out something dumb. I know, real mature. This was like 3 weeks after the substitute left. We snuck in after school when the janitors were on the other side of the building. The door was unlocked because Mr. Pemberton always forgot to lock it. We started moving desks around, laughing and being idiots. That's when Trent looked under one of the desks and said, "Yo, what the hell is this?" There was this paper taped to the bottom, not just one desk. We started checking others. There were papers under at least 7 or 8 desks. Lists, typed out lists with times, routes, descriptions. Kids' names weren't on there, but the descriptions were detailed enough that we knew exactly who they were talking about. Blonde girl, volleyball practice until 5:30, walks to parking lot D alone. That was Lexi. Tall kid with the red backpack, stays in library on Thursdays, usually last one out. That was Marco. He went pale when he read it. The lists had notes about when kids were alone, where they went, what they carried. There was this one line that made my hands shake. Useful kids, front office aide, has master key, tech club president, stays late in computer lab, kid who bikes home on Miller Road, isolated route. At the bottom of one list, there were scribbles, messy handwriting, not missed for hours. Parents work late, no siblings. I wanted to puke. Trent pulled out his phone and took pictures of everything. We didn't know what to do. Like, who makes lists like this? And why were they taped under desks in our classroom? Marco said we should go to Principal Vickers right then. But it was almost 6. The office was closed. So we decided to go first thing in the morning. We left the papers there, scared to touch them more than we already had. That night, I barely slept. I kept thinking about that coat. The substitute's coat. The pen in the pocket had the name G. Davison on it, same name from the roster. Was he the one watching us, writing those lists? Next morning, we went to our counselor, Mrs. Halloway. She was always nice, always smiling. We told her everything, showed her the pictures on Trent's phone. She looked at them for a long time. Then she smiled. Actually smiled. "Boys, I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. We'll look into it," she said, super calm. "Don't worry about it anymore, okay? These things happen sometimes. Probably just someone's weird project." She put Trent's phone down and wrote something in her notebook, then put the notebook in her desk drawer. That was it. She didn't call the principal, didn't call the police, just dismissed us. We felt crazy, like maybe we were overreacting. But then the substitute never came back to the school. No announcement, no explanation. We asked Mr. Pemberton about it, and he said he didn't know anything about a Mr. Davison, said he thought the district sent someone else. That's when things got really weird. Over the next month, stuff started going missing from backpacks, a wallet here, a laptop there. It was always random, but when we started comparing notes, we realized something. Every single kid who got something stolen was on those lists. Lexi lost her phone. Marco's bike got stolen right from the rack. This girl named Simone, who always stayed late for choir practice, had her car keys taken from her bag. People started freaking out. Someone, I don't know who, leaked a photo of the lists to this private group chat. Then it spread. Everyone saw them. Kids started accusing each other. Some people said it was a prank. Others thought it was real. Teachers tried to calm everyone down, but nobody knew what was actually happening. The worst part, and I mean the absolute worst part, was this. There was this security guard who worked evening shifts, Mr. Paulson, super friendly guy, always asking if we needed help, walked kids to their cars if they asked. He was around during all of this, always nearby when something went missing, always offering to help file reports or look through footage. Nobody suspected him. Why would we? He was the guy who was supposed to keep us safe. Then one day in late April, he just stopped showing up. No goodbye, no nothing. School said he moved to another district. Didn't think anything of it until Lexi pointed something out that made my skin crawl. She said she remembered seeing Mr. Paulson talking to the substitute, Mr. Davison, in the hallway once. They were standing close, talking quiet. She didn't think much of it at the time, but now, we never found out the truth. The school never officially said Mr. Davison was fired or banned. Mrs. Halloway retired that summer. Mr. Paulson was just gone. The theft stopped, but the damage was done. I don't trust security guards anymore. I don't trust substitutes. Hell, I barely trust counselors. The person who was watching us was patient, never rushed, always close enough to help when something mysterious happened. And because of that, because he seemed so damn helpful, everyone let their guard down. By the time the truth walked away, it had taken our trust and left us with this paranoia that I still carry. Sometimes I check under desks. I know it sounds crazy, but I do. And I always look twice at people who seem too eager to help, because sometimes the person watching you is the one you least expect. This happened during my junior year at Roosevelt High in Phoenix, Arizona, back in 2019. I've never told the full story online before because honestly, it still freaks me out. But after what I learned last month, I think people need to hear this. So here goes. It started in October. We had this substitute teacher, Mr. Brennan, covering for our psychology teacher who was out on medical leave. He seemed normal at first. Kind of tall, maybe in his 30s, wore these wire-frame glasses that made him look smart. He'd crack jokes during class, and everyone thought he was cool. One Thursday after school, Mr. Brennan sent out an email through the school system. He was doing a memory study for extra credit. 20 points added to our next test. All we had to do was stay after school for an hour on Friday, fill out some forms, and answer questions. He even promised snacks. My friend Jasper and I signed up immediately because our grades needed help. Friday came, and about 12 of us showed up to his classroom. Mr. Brennan had laid out chips, cookies, and soda on the back table. My mom had packed me a turkey sandwich that morning, but I forgot it in my locker, so I was pretty hungry. The snacks looked good. He handed out these packets, maybe 5 or 6 pages long. The first page asked normal stuff like our age, grade level, how many hours we slept. Pretty standard. But then it got weird. Page 3 asked where we kept valuable items in our bedrooms, like specifically. It wanted to know if we had a desk drawer, a closet safe, under the mattress. One question literally said, "Where would you hide something you didn't want your parents to find?" I looked over at Jasper. He was filling it out without thinking much. I almost asked him if this seemed strange, but I didn't want to look stupid, so I just kept writing. Then Mr. Brennan started walking around, asking us questions out loud while we worked. He'd stop at someone's desk and say stuff like, "So, Devin, you mentioned your mom works late on Tuesdays. Does anyone else stay home with you?" Or he'd ask, "Tasha, you wrote that you keep your laptop in your room. Is that on the first floor or second floor?" The questions felt personal, really personal. But he said it was all about memory patterns and home environments, something about how our living situations affected our ability to recall information. I don't know, it sounded smart enough that we didn't question it. Jasper made a joke at one point. He said, "Mr. Brennan, this questionnaire is kinda creepy, man. You planning a heist or something?" Everyone laughed, including Mr. Brennan. But his laugh was different, like he thought something was funny that we didn't get yet. He just smiled and said, "You'd be surprised what people remember when they feel safe." That sentence stuck with me, I don't know why. We finished the forms and turned them in. Mr. Brennan collected them all in a folder and thanked us for participating, said he'd have the extra credit posted by Monday. We grabbed our stuff and left. I remember walking out with Jasper and we were both joking about how easy that was. The following Wednesday, a girl named Maritza came to school really shaken up. She told us someone had broken into her house the night before. Her mom called the police and everything. But here's the thing. Nothing was stolen. Not her laptop, not the cash her parents kept in a drawer. Nothing. But when Maritza went to bed that night, there was a note on her pillow. It said, "I know you hide your diary under your mattress. I know your mom works until 9 on Wednesdays. I know you're home alone." Those were things she wrote on Mr. Brennan's form, word for word. Maritza showed the note to the principal, Mr. Vickers. She told him about the memory study. He said he'd look into it. That same day, Jasper found something weird behind the bleachers in the gym. He was grabbing his water bottle that rolled under there and saw a piece of paper wedged in the metal frame. It had questions written on it. Practice questions, maybe. The handwriting matched Mr. Brennan's from when he wrote stuff on the whiteboard. One line said, "How would you convince a teenager to give you their home address?" We took it straight to Mr. Vickers. He seemed concerned at first, but then he said Mr. Brennan had cleared all his background checks, said the district vetted him. When we pushed harder, Mr. Vickers changed his story a little, said Mr. Brennan had traveled extensively and that he couldn't disclose his references due to privacy reasons. That didn't sit right with us. Jasper and I decided to go back to the psychology classroom to get our forms. We wanted proof of what we'd written, but when we got there, the folder was gone. Mr. Brennan wasn't on the schedule that day either. Convenient, right? We asked around. One of the office assistants, this senior named Dakota, told us Mr. Brennan had already moved to another assignment. some middle school in Tempe. He didn't even finish out the week. Over the next couple weeks, weird shit started happening to other kids who did the study. Nothing major enough for the cops to care about. Devin said his bike got moved in his driveway. He always parked it by the garage door, but one morning it was by the mailbox. Tasha found her bedroom window unlocked even though she swore she locked it. Little things. Invasions that made you feel watched but couldn't prove anything. I think the worst part is realizing what that study actually was. It wasn't about memory, it was an inventory. He figured out which kids had rooms with easy access, which ones had parents who worked late, which ones could be vulnerable. He mapped out our lives in 1 hour with some snacks and a bullshit promise. I still check my locks twice before bed, and sometimes I wonder how many other schools he's done this at.